guys that maybe a little what we shall not wait for them. So yeah, the last session we did like a quick start on having Flutter installed on our machines, and I hope everyone that is in here was able to install Flutter on their machines and run it using Android Studio. That's what we're using for the first session. Another thing I want to talk about is we might be a little bit fast because we're having papers are coming week, 2 weeks or how many weeks from now. So we shall make it a little bit fast, interactive, and fun. Okay, who is presenting? Someone started presenting. Yeah, so the first thing that we shall do in Flutter, that is maybe just a quick overview of what we did last week, is introducing Flutter. And Flutter, what Flutter is basically, it is it literally helps you to develop applications. So it gives you like a quick start on developing applications. But the advantage with it is it gives you one code base. So you find you make one code, and your application is going to run on both iOS and Android devices, which is a nice thing, really. You do not have to get to make maybe one from here, then you go to Swift, maybe go to Java to make these apps. So you have one code base and you can make apps for iOS and Android. So Flutter works with DATS, and that is a language that's basically developed by Google. So what I'm going to do is go through the basics of DATS. Yeah, so basically see, but if you're not somebody that is new to programming, that should be a little bit very easy to grasp. So I'm just going to run through some that works. What you can do, you can go to your browser and type datpad.dev, what is literally typed. So I'm going to go to that window. So datpad.dev is going to get you something like this. So from this, we can run our DATS things. You can have it on your machine still. You can install it on your machine and run it. Yeah, so the first thing in programming, of course, is setting those variables and all. I hope my screen is being shown, right? I hope it is being seen. If there is anything that you're not seeing, please let me know. Yeah, so let's start with this. So that is a statically typed language. What that means is, at all you declare a variable, that means you cannot change the type that you've declared it with. So what I'm going to do is basically get to declare some. I'll do like an int, then I name it like age, and I would say it's like 20. Smile is 20 years. Then I'm going to print the age. So I'm going to print age. And I come here and run it. So from the console, you see this 20 has been printed. Is that clear? That is the first thing. Then we also have another data type, which is a string. I put string, maybe let me say string name. And the string is going to be something like I'm here today. And I come here and I print a name, sorry, name instead. When I come and run it, so it prints it out. You see that? So the other data type is a Boolean, which is a true or false. So you just write bool, then I could call its name. Then in here, it is either true or false. So I could say false. When I come and print the the name, it's going to tell me false. It's going to print out false in the whatever in the console. What I'd said was so that is a static typed programming language. What I mean is, let me say, if I type like string name and I call it I'm here today. I cannot come again and say name maybe is equal to 30. So when I try to run it, it's going to give me an error. See, on line 13. So it says a value of type int can't be assigned to a type string. So that's what I mean that it is statically typed. So you can't assign a type to a different type. So the thing that maybe that has is a dynamic data type. So when I come and say dynamic, so when you do dynamic, that means that you can actually now assign any. So it negates the property of it being statically typed. So I can come and say dynamic and then name. Then after I could get maybe name. I could call it like 30. It's not going to complain. So when I come and run at this time, it's going to do 30. I don't know if that is clear. Is that clear or I'm too fast? Okay, Bash is saying that I'm a little bit can't hear you well. I think here he meant here, right? Yeah, can you get me now, Bash? I'll take silence for a yes. Maybe you can get me from wherever you are. And yeah, Zodic Graphics has just joined us. Welcome, man. Okay, so let's continue. So without that, so basically I've talked about the integer, then the string, the booleans, and the dynamic data type. The dynamic, what it does is I could first declare it as a string, and you can change it at any time that you want. So that, as I said, negates the property of that being a statically typed programming language. By the way, I'm eating, so I'll talk as I'm eating. So what else with that? The other thing that you can look at in that are maybe lists. So I'll give an example of a list, and I'll call this list like maybe list 10. So in this list 10, I'll come and say maybe I have a Coke, and also have a Coke trace. Let me see, and I also have thighs. Yeah, and have thighs. Okay, so that is a list of hen. So when I come and print the hen list, and I run it, so it's going to show from the console. You can see the cock trace and thighs. You get it? When I come here and say maybe I want to type, I want to add something to this list. So I can come and say hen, with adds. I can add, let me see, thighs. I can add neck. When I come and run this list still, so there is an error. So what I have to do, this is a string, so I have to put it in quotes. When I come and run it, so you see the neck has been added. You see that? I hope I'm not too fast though. Is everything okay? Let me see the guys that are in here. Is everything fine? Martin, is it okay or I'm a bit fast? Okay, I hope I'm at a steady pace. Evans, is it okay or I'm a bit fast? I'm Kawa, eh? Yeah, yeah, you guys ask questions, eh? Ask questions. I can pause and reply as Maya said. So just ask whatever you feel like I should repeat, and I'll be going to repeat it. Okay, so that was a list showing you some of the properties of a list. So we also have, so this is the add property. You know, so we can also remove, so there is hand dot remove. And what I would wish to remove would be, first of all, it would be the thighs. No, I would remove the cock. First remove the cock. Then I come and run from here. So you can boldly see that the cock has been removed, right? Yeah, so there is the remove, there is the add. So maybe another thing that you can do with the list, you could come and say hen and say you want to add maybe another value, and it could be like be even an integer. Because we didn't define the data type for this list, so we can add literally anything. So when I put like a 20 and I run this, so again, see the 20 added. So it doesn't literally segregate if actually it is a string or an integer or what. It's just going to take in everything. So to remove that option, maybe you're having your lists and you want it to be maybe a string only on an integer type. We shall come here and just say, we call, let it be an int, an integer type string. So from that, you can see it has started complaining. Yeah? You can see the complaints from this documentation and console. So this means that this list is only supposed to take in integer types. Eh? So that means the cock and the cock traces and all won't be taken in. So I'll come here and just say three, sorry, just add like three. Come here, add like four. Come here, add like seven. So I also tried this is also complaining, so I'll just remove it. This also remove it. So when I come to run this, you see it has now added the 20 because, and one thing you have to notice is it is only, now it is only of integer type. So if we try to add maybe, if try to add a string, it won't allow. So let me do int add. And I'll put a string of here. When I run that, complaints. So the argument type string can't be assigned to the parameter type of what? Of int. So literally a string can't go into the list of integers. Basically, that is what it does. So this is more of an overview of what? An overview of that. And if at all you had some programming language, I mean, programming experience before, it really isn't something big to catch up with. So another thing that I'm going to do is just a minute. So we have done the lists. We looked at the data types and all. So I'm just going to do a quick summary of functions in that. So we define functions the way basically we define functions elsewhere. So you first put the return type. So this function is going to be, it's going to be returning an integer. Then I'll call it like get age, maybe. To get age, then I come here and say write the body of the function. So in this function, what I'm going to do is I'll be, let me see, I'll just be returning the age of someone. I'll do return 50. When I do that, I'll come in here and maybe call the function. I'll come and say, maybe int age is equal to get age. Is equal to get age. It's a function, yeah? When I do that, I come and run it. Oh, sorry, let me first print it out. Let me print the age and you see the value contained in the age. So when I print the age, basically the age is 50. In that, so the age is assigned to this function, and this function returns 50. So basically that is a whole function done. Is that clear with everyone? Can I proceed? Okay, if it is all, if everyone is quiet, then I'll just continue. I'll just proceed with everything, right? Okay.
Yes.
Joseph, is it okay? Your dad is talking. Is it fine with you over that side?
It's okay.
Hey, Kawa. Oh, David, I tell me you're back. You came late today.
Yeah, sorry, I got the link a little bit late, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm on track. I'm catching on. I see it is familiar territory. It's not all that new. The syntax
Hey,
almost looks like Java. So.
maybe what you hadn't seen was the dynamic data type.
Yeah, because when I got into the class, you already coding.
Yeah, but I will just do a quick recap, then we head on.
Thanks.
Apart from that, I will. So basically, that those are functions that those are like the whole basic of functions. So maybe what I can do is, if one of you guys have tried to do functions in JavaScript, there is this arrow thing. So when you find you have like a function that's just returning one thing, you could use the arrow rotation. So when I do that, and I still come and run here, so basically it's going to do 50. I could change the number so that you could see that. I put like 700, blah, blah, blah. And I run this. So it still runs, yeah? Okay. So basically that is, we have covered functions, lists. Then what else can we cover? I think we could go to classes. I think we can cover classes, get to see a little bit of classes in that. So before I go to classes, let me just do a quick recap of the dynamic data type, yeah? So I'll come here and just erase this. So basically what the dynamic data type does is, first of all, that is dynamic is equal to 30 and the print page. That is statically typed. That means that if at all, let me show you to it practice. I just do int. When I run it, it gives me 30. When I come and I try to change, maybe I say age is, I change it to maybe like a string. I call it like water. So you see it is complaining. The complaint is a value of string can be assigned to a variable integer type, yeah? What I can do basically is to just change this to a dynamic data type. Just call it dynamic. Now when I come and run it, and see it's now printing water. I hope now that is like more clear. I don't know. I hope it is. What we're going to do, the other thing is just take us a quick recap of classes in that. So basically, literally going over the whole programming language of that, and like almost finishing the whole of it. What I'm going to do is go through maybe a little bit of classes in that, then we shall start like a coding session of Flutter. What I'm going to do is delete this, then I'm going to come and create class, and maybe it could be a class of a user. So I'll give it the properties that this class has. And so the people that did Java, a class is basically a blueprint of things. Find you have a car. People that did OPP, and it has properties. Maybe it can actually, you as a person, you have your properties. Maybe you're tall, you're short, you can move, you can walk. So those are literally your properties. So a class basically is a blueprint of that. So what I'm going to do is maybe define. So a user might have properties like, I'm assuming maybe this user is going to be a user into entering into an application. So we'll have to get maybe a username and maybe a password. What I'm going to do is define a string of username. The username is going to basically be maybe Evans. Then also define maybe like an integer of age. And Evans might be like 13 years. Yes. After that, I can also define maybe one method. So I could be like void. That means it doesn't return anything. Login. Going to log in into some system or something. So the login, it could basically log in, and after logging in, I can just do print anything. Come on, man. So, no, not this one. Let me just print it's a Friday. Another feeling. Friday. Okay. So basically, when someone logs in into this, I just print it's a Friday. And I come and run this. So basically, it's basically telling us because it's not complaining in any way. So what I'm going to do so that you can see this is come here and create an instance of this class so that I can print or access, so that I can access the properties of this class. I have to come and create the instance of the class. So what I'm going to do is come and create maybe user. Now call this like user one or user one, something like that. And I'm going to give this user the class property, so it's user. Do that. So after that, that is like an instance of the user, so I can come and print out, the user age, or maybe the username. And I come and do, let me say, user one. And I put a dot, say I can access all the properties of this class, the properties of this user class. So there's a property of age, there's a property of username. So I'm going to select maybe a property of the username. And I come and terminate. So when I come and run it, basically going to give me Evans. I can do the same for the age. Control C and come and paste it here. Sorry. And access the age property. As I said, when I do that dot, it gives me the properties of this user class. Maybe I'll put age when I come and run it. Prints out Evans and the 13 age. So it's printing out this. Yeah, so that is basically a whole overview of that.
Just a second.
Yes, please.
Please don't take off the code base. A little bit, just in a few seconds. I want to look at it again.
You had a question or something?
I saw you highlighting on the whole code base. So I thought you are going to take it off. I still want to look at it a little bit.
Oh, okay, okay. Tell me when you're done. I'm eating. Tell me when you're done.
You're eating alone.
Man, what's up, man?
Okay, okay. I've got the whole picture. Yeah, cool stuff, cool stuff. Because I'm seeing your yeah. I'm seeing you're creating an object of the class, the user one and user one. Then you instantiate it. Then you can use it to call whichever methods or variables you have within the class. Yeah, cool stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, it's basically a whole overview of the whole programming language. So if you had like some knowledge in maybe Java or JavaScript or C, it's really easy to pick up from this. It's not different really. It's the same thing.
But just a quick one though.
Yeah,
Um, so the other one, the void main is the main class. It's the entry level class, not so?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Then the class user, okay, coming from the other programming language, the class user would be an inner class, not so? Within the main class, like okay, for certain instances, the one I was used to would be like you create the class on its own, eh? It will not be an inner class. Mostly would use methods in this case, as opposed to
So
using the class.
exactly, the whole thing is so you know the method of or a function main.
Yes.
So you know main is where execution starts from.
The entry level.
Yeah, that is basically the C background. So execution starts from the main function.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So basically, the class user is not. It is a class. It is not a function. It's not a method. It's a class.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So I think if there are any other questions, then we shall proceed. So basically, I think I've tried to like explain the whole basics of that, and that is basically. So if at all you've gotten, if at all everything that we're doing in that session was very clear to you, then I think we can proceed and go to writing the whatever, the code in Flutter, the Android Studio. So from this, I hope everyone has gotten Flutter running on their machines, and we can start. Yeah. So guys, I think we could start with this Android Studio Jazz. So basically, I will assume everyone has it running on their PCs. So I'm going to create a new project, and basically this is oh sorry, I want to create a Flutter new project. So I come to new, then I see the new Flutter project. I click on it. I'll click that Flutter application. So I'm going to call it day one. Just call it day one. I call it day one, and I click next, next, and I finish. So just a minute, just a minute. Let's wait on as it is creating a project. So I just put it in this window. We could ask any question that is proceed processing or whatever it is doing. Yeah, so I think it's coming on. If there is anyone out there and has maybe a question or two, you could ask. We're just 13 people in the meeting. Okay. So that is basically when you run Flutter for your first time, it presents you some dummy app. So I have my emulator. Let me try to run it from the emulator. Let me come and share my emulator screen, and you see how it looks like. So my emulator is on, so I'm going to run it on the emulator, and you see how it looks on the emulator. Sorry, I'm going to show you my emulator. Let me share my emulator so that you can see the Flutter app, the dummy app that it presents. So basically, that is the emulator, and you can see the dummy app that it gets to present. So apparently, we shall be a little bit patient, so that the application loads.
Then can you hear me?
Yeah, I can get you.
Yes. I'm using VS Code
Okay.
for this.
Yeah.
Yes, but for some reason when I do Flutter run on the terminal,
Yeah.
it doesn't really work. So it works when I pass in that flag no sound now safety. I don't know. Could it be something I missed the code or something? It's
Yeah.
not really a startup application. It's something I was working on, but every app I work on, it requires me to use that flag, no sound
That
now
that's
safety.
that's no safety thing. It should be
Yes.
in your code, so you should check through your code. It should be in your code. There are no safety thing, there are no safety error.
Okay.
It's not really a sensitive one.
Okay. So it won't really affect like
No,
production or anything.
it might, but it's okay. Basically they have like ranges. So it's
Yeah.
more like of a warning thing,
Yeah.
not so much of a big deal, but it should be corrected though. Perfection,
Okay.
be perfect, yeah.
Okay. I'll
Or,
try to look through and see what
or you're the
it says.
person that is, as long as it is working, I shouldn't touch it.
All right.
And
Thank
I
you.
was asking, are you part of the people that say as long as it is working, I shouldn't touch it?
Yeah, there is that as well. I usually, if I have something a lot I have to do, I'll first continue and then refactor,
That
and fix
that is a
those
bad
things later.
strategy. That is a bad strategy. So apparently
Yeah,
this thing is
that,
taking forever to load. Eh?
that's done.
Yes, please.
That because now safety is known to is very important actually.
Okay.
You shouldn't ignore that. That thing prevents your apps from crashing.
Okay.
Then I beg your pardon on that. So, in other words, if I don't want my app, definitely, like if I don't use it, the app will crash.
No,
So, yeah,
like it prevents you, like for example, you may declare a variable,
yeah,
hoping that for example, when as you transfer from one screen to another,
yeah,
like as you like inject dependencies to another screen, and one of the dependency is null and it's used in another screen. Of
yeah.
course, definitely the app will have to crash. But if you had enabled sound null safety, the IDE would notify you that this variable is capable of being null. Therefore, either make it nullable or whatever required.
Yeah, actually get it now. And I think it came when I installed some dependencies and it started doing that.
Yeah,
Then
there are
then
some.
So basically, what is like trying to say is, okay, you might not get some errors when
yeah,
you're maybe at compiling time,
yeah,
but then at runtime it could actually capture them. I don't know if that is clear. I don't know if that
yeah,
makes
that
sense.
that makes sense.
Yeah, something like that.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay, so it seems like my phone is taking quite a while. Let me just explain some things here. Just a minute as I wait for this to actually get on. Okay, so guys, just a minute, just a minute, just a minute. So I got this thing from the internet, and basically I want to maybe explain basically. So Flutter, basically it is when you talk about Flutter, one thing you won't forget, one thing you shouldn't fail to mention about is a word called widgets. So so if you could take the whole working of the application of Flutter. So if you take this whole thing, I think you can see my screen. If you take this whole thing, it would be a lot like this whole widget, like the parent widget. Then in this parent widget, we have the app bar, which is this where Must is basically laying out at. Then in this app bar, we have a text widget, which is that word must. Then we also, from this parent widget, so we have a container widget, and in that container widget, we have another text widget, which are that blah, 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 blah. So basically what I'm trying to say is, so everything is a widget in Flutter. And that is one concept that you should basically have at the back of your mind. Hope that is clear with all of us. My Android is still messing up. My Android studio is trying to mess up. So I'll first try to close some options, and I wanted to show you the dummy app of that Flutter presents to us. Then we could start writing our own codes. So just wait on a little bit. Be patient. Oh my God. Close it.
I have a quick question though.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, so looking at this diagram, there's a root widget,
Yeah,
then it goes on structure like almost an hierarchy, where you
yeah,
have
yeah.
the container widget, the upper widget, the text. So okay, so coming from the native world, of course, I'll be familiar with most of this, but for us, we keep on referring to them as views and layouts. So when I look at this structure, what would be the main root widget here? Like when you go back to your code base, which one is this that we keep on stacking these other things to?
Hey, sorry, man. I thought I was talking. Yes, my mic was muted. What I was saying was, so in our case, the root widget would be a scaffold. So in Flutter, we have something called a scaffold. So it's basically like a layout where you're going to put like all your other widgets, the app bar widget, the container widget, text widgets, and maybe something that I didn't mention. These widgets have like properties. So you could say maybe from the text widget, you could maybe center it, you could left like put it, align it the way you want, something like that. So they still have the properties that you can style them with. I don't know if that is clear. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, loud and clear. I can't wait to I can't wait to look at the scaffold.
So what I was saying was, if you could see this, so from the picture that was there the last time, the one that I had presented, so this could basically give you a clear understanding of it. In that, so you see this scaffold that I was telling you, it's basically like wrapping everything. So it's like apparent widgets, basically like trying to get where all these other widgets are getting into. So you have that, then you have the up bar, then in the up bar there is the text, then you have this that is centered. So the thing on this container is centered, and you have two texts. That is the zero, and you have pushed this how many times. Then you also have the floating action button with an icon in it. So I don't know if that gives you like a clear understanding and picture of what's of the other image that I displayed before. So basically, that this is like it in action. David, does that clear any query in your mind?
Yeah, this is very fine. I get the bigger picture. But given I'm a newbie with Flutter and I've never looked into it into depth, just looking at this structure makes me want to ask more questions. But I have a feeling they will be answered as we go ahead. So I think just to let the whole class move, I will reserve the questions for later.
It's okay. Currently, my industry is still not starting up. Yeah, so it's building in a minute. Minutes, minutes. Yeah, so basically that is the Android codes. Just a minute. Yeah, so it has loaded to the emulator. Yeah, so basically, this is the dummy app that Flutter presents to you when you run it for the first time. Gives you like that dummy app, and these are basically comments. So those are all just comments. So you could get it from the very top. So there is that void main which runs an app, and that app is basically here. It runs this class. So this class extends a stateless widget. We shall see the difference between a stateless widget and a stateful widget. So let me show you basically what this displays, what this code displays. Just a minute. Then we shall build it for ourselves. After looking at that display, we shall try and build it on our own, so that we can get a better understanding of it. Yeah, so basically this is the dummy app that Flutter presents. So you just come here and can basically change numbers. So this is a dummy app that Flutter presents when you run it for the first time. So if you could take back to that picture that I showed you, so basically it gives the whole picture of what the widgets are and how they're in that tree-like structure. What I'm going to do is present the Unreal Studio code, and we could see how we could build it from scratch. I don't know if there are any questions though. Before that, let me first share this. So that this reminds you of what we're talking about. This is basically to remind you. This widget will after this, after this, after this, after that. Yeah, so that being said, I hope it is basically understand what it is. So we are going to go back to our Android Studio and try to start build the dummy app that Flutter gives us from basically scratch and get to know is which.
I just have a quick question though.
Go ahead.
So, I have two questions. So looking at the code base and that structure,
Yeah.
it means okay, we are extending or inheriting from that particular class that I can't mention the name properly, Scaffold or something like that.
Yeah.
So that means all these other widgets are children to that. Like all these other widgets are methods or classes within that particular one we're inheriting from. Because when I looked at the app, I saw a floating button, I saw a text views, I saw the toolbar, and etc. So meaning everything within the Android system that we look at in the UI will be a child of the scaffold.
I think to answer that, we are going to like start from scratch, and you're going to have like a clear understanding of everything by in like the next 5 minutes. You're going to have like to be clear. Your mind is going to be clear. Just hold on a bit. No, I keep switching. Like I keep switching bars, so I even lose track of. I keep putting this thing, sharing that, so I lose track of where I'm even supposed to go. Okay, so this is our code for the other dummy thing. Just a minute. Hope you guys are going to be seeing my screen because I'm just going to be working from from Android Studio. So I won't be seeing the screen that basically is there. So let's start. I will start by just deleting this whole thing. What I'm going to do is just delete everything here. And it is basically trying to complain. So my app, basically, it has been deleted, so you can see it is complaining. What I'm going to do in this case, I'm going to return a material app. And in this material app, I'm going to do a home, and I'll basically put a text in this home. I'll call it something like, I'm here. So from this, you see that it is actually complaining. Yeah? It's basically giving us complaints. So in Flutter, what you have to do, you don't write it like this. So what you do, you basically put it in a text widget. So just come here and put it in a text widget. And say, I'm here. Or now let me just call it, it's a Friday. Let me just say, do you want a beer? Yeah, so when I come and run it, I'm not going to go deep into this test folder. I could actually delete it, but let me just edit it somehow. Then I'm not going to explain much in the test folder for now. You'll have to bear with that. Let's first work with this main.dat. Okay, so when I come and run this, actually what Flutter presents you with, you could come to this run option. So you have these options of, you could hot reload or hot restart your application. What I'm going to do is basically hot restart. Then I'm going to share what this looks like in an emulator. Maybe another thing that I would maybe think of doing that we are done in our programming is just use that arrow function, because basically we are returning one thing. So I'll just use this. Basically we are returning one thing, so why not use the arrow function? So let me open up the emulator. I think it has run. Just a minute. Just a minute. So that is what it gives us. Is there anyone that is having a question on that? We proceed. Anyone? Sorry, anyone with a question, or we can proceed? Okay. So I hope we are all picking, and let's just continue with everything. So I'll go back to. I'll share the Android Studio code. I hope that is visible. And, I'll start. I'm to do, so basically I'm returning a text step, but as I mentioned,
Just a quick one. Just a quick one.
someone please,
Someone please.
David, please mute. I'm getting it. Okay, thank you. So this is where your thing is going to come in. So from the home, what I'm going to basically, the first layout is a scaffold. So you could do a little bit of Googling about a scaffold. And this scaffold, what I want to maybe give is an up bar. I'm just going to come and put an up bar. I've basically created the up bar. So now what I want to do is come and give it maybe a title. Come and say title. And I'll put this title into a text widget. The text, and I'll call it day one. Sorry. Call it day one. So when I come here and I do a hot restart, let's see what that actually gives. So you're going to be patient as we get to keep switching, keep switching between the emulator and the codes. Just have to be a little bit patient. So basically, that is what our code produces, just like that. So David, does that give you a clear impression of what you asked before about the scaffold and all?
Yeah.
It's now clear,
Yes.
Okay, so after that, let's go back to our code. So guys, I told you I'm eating, I'm still eating.
We all pray you don't choke.
I don't choke. Someone doesn't choke on me. That's what you're trying to say. It's a joke. Don't take it in another way, please. So let's go back to our codes. Joshua, Jerry, are you there? You've been quiet for like quite some time. What's up?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
following.
You finally got someone and move it. How about Jerry?
That is where then you use baby doing and you're speaking.
Yeah, because you've finished your Vaseline in a week, Come on, let's just give this thing some more touch. Yeah, so basically, so this is our title, and you could see our title was aligned to the left. So I'll just center the title. So I'll come and say center title, and I'll just say this to true. That basically centers our title. So after that, I'll put a body. Come here and say I put a body. We shall preview this all at once. When I come and do our body, I want to give it use a text widget, put some words. I would say day one, and it is a Friday, so I'll just say MC Africa, get our money. No, MC Africa, didn't get our money. Those people that were going to Ginger, right? Hope they didn't take your money. So another thing so in this body, let me just run it. We're just going to persist with how things are going to be. So I'm just going to be showing the screen, then also show the emulator, the output on the emulator. Let me just again show you.
I have a humble request.
Yes, please.
Hello. Before you run the body, please add something else to the body. There's something I want to figure out.
Okay. So basically,
Add another widget to the body.
this is what it displays on the device. MC Africa didn't eat our money. So what I'm going to do here is, as you had said, add something else to the body. I'm going to stop this and present the codes. Okay. So maybe one option with Flutter, you see this bulb here. So our thing wasn't centered. So I'll come and click here. It's going to give me this bulb. Hope my screen is being shared. There it is. So I'm going to come here, click this bulb, and I'll just choose an option of wrap with center. So when I do this, it's basically going to center this widget and label it as a child. So basically, what that does is it does give like everything in our body, it centers it in the basically centers it. And centering something is it going into the middle of everything. Okay. So another thing I'm going to add is that floating bar. I mean that floating action button. So I'm just going to come here, add floating action, and I'll add a floating action button. So what I do with this, I will come and do some properties.
Are we still in the body? Yeah.
Pardon? Pardon? David, did you say something?
Yeah. It's unfortunate I'm using a phone, so I can't seem to follow the curly brackets very well. So when you added the floating action bar, I was asking if we were still in the body.
No, basically a floating action bar is supposed to float on the body. You get it?
So in this instance, we are not.
So we are not in the
We are not
body.
in the body. We are in the scaffold.
Yeah, we are in the scaffold, but you're not in the body.
Thank you.
Okay. So after that, so this is the floating action button. So what I'm going to do to it is give it some properties, maybe. So I'll come to it and maybe give it a child property and give it some text. In this text, I'm going to say maybe click, something like that. When I do click, I can add, I think that would actually even be okay. So we could actually preview this and see how it looks like on our machine. So you could, let me just restart. so that you could see how it looks now. Just a minute. So yeah, just like that, we have something like that. I don't know how many lines would it take you to construct something like that, David, in Java?
I know where you're getting at with this, but I'll reserve my comments for some other day. It, it might be a lot of lines, but at least it is familiar territory. This is newer territory. I'm even getting scared the most on how you can achieve these things fast, because back in the native language, I will have to go to Kotlin, right, then I'd have to go to the XML, right, then I'll have to go to the styles, right, just to achieve what you have done here. I'll have to go to like 4 different sections, and you have to understand them in depth. Like, you don't just write them out like you guys are doing. CSS and web development here. So it's like everything is built in,
Yeah.
you're calling them, but the other side, we tend to do certain things a little bit manual. That's why I was asking you for where the body is, because I'm trying to relate to the other. And this is a new territory for me.
But it looks nice, eh?
Hey, you mean the food you're eating is nice?
No, I mean, what I'm trying to say, if I'm trying to give like an example to your case, it'd be like for going for another chick that is totally okay, but she's not in your league, but she's nice.
I say I should have seen you in person, because COVID has really limited us. I had to, I had to look at this first and laugh my head off. Anyway, nice things. I'm enjoying it.
So let's continue. I'm going to share again this screen, recording screen. Okay. Maybe before I do that, let me just share it. You guys could type in.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Yeah, we can get you. What's up?
That's done.
Yes. Shalom with a man's voice. What's up?
I joined the kind of late, but I wanted to just say something about.
Something about what?
I wanted to know the difference between like the body and the scaffold. I've just joined and
So basically, the scaffold is
yes,
like
I just
a
wanted to
layout.
know like the difference between the body and the scaffold, because I'm seeing that round thing also. I think it's within the body. Maybe you can say something about it.
So basically, the scaffold is like the layout, the layout out, where you can put, where you can just put everything onto that layout. So assume maybe you're having like maybe
I'm like, yes,
let's assume
I
you're having
joined
like a plate,
late, but I wanted to know like the difference between the scaffold and the body.
Exactly, I'm trying
And I
to
wondering,
explain it. Can you get me now? So I hope now you can get me and you've muted. So
yes,
basically,
yeah.
if I put it in simple terms, so let's assume you have a plate, and this is your plate. You want to put food there.
Yeah, get.
So the scaffold is like the plate, Then the body is the food that you're going to put. You can put maybe beans, you can put maybe rice. So maybe the rice can be like the up bar, then
Yes.
the posho can be like the body of something. I don't know if that sort of like makes sense to
It's
you.
okay. Go on.
Does it really get to make some sense?
I'm getting you.
You're getting it now, eh? Okay. I hope you got it. So where were we? So let me share my screen again. Let me share. Where is Android Studio? Okay, so I hope this is visible now. Okay, so after that, just extend this here. So when that is
Yeah,
done,
yeah, yeah. I get you. Thank
you
you.
get it. You get it now, eh?
Yes.
Eh, kawa kawa. So basically, let me say we could just do some a little bit of give this thing some colors. Let me say the up bar. So I could come and give it like maybe a background color. And I'll say, so these are inbuilt, eh? So I'll say something like colors dot. So here you get like so many options, eh? Maybe red or something, and you could even give some opacity to them. So when you want to get even more options, you come and do Control Q. So when you do Control Q, I literally you could see all the shades of red, like basically what the shades of red are. You come and do like maybe here do and see all the shades of this whatever this color. When I come here and I do red, you see when you put these and you put maybe a 50, gives you a different shade. So basically, it can give you any shade that you want. So what I'm going to do is just give it dot red and give it a shade of something like 400. That is basically colors. What you can do too is let me just type this in your let me type it in your browser, meaning the charts. Let me type it in the chat. Let me type it in the chat where you could actually see more options of these colors. When you got that link, you could get to see even other options of the colors that you might think of. Not only pink as girls think. So pink is not the only color that is there in the world. Okay. So after that, maybe we could look at fonts, how we could put our own custom fonts into this. We could put our own. Oh, before the fonts, before you go to the fonts, you could see this floating action button, eh? Which is basically it's still being highlighted. So when you come and get on it, they tell you that the parameter of on pressed is required. Basically, what that is buttons are basically created to do what? They're created to be pushed and on. So that means we have to at least add in a property like push it, like it has to be pushed. That was its own function, so that it doesn't complain to us. So just come and put on pressed, then I put these things, and it doesn't complain anymore. So in the future, you could put whatever you would want it to do when you push it. I hope that is clear and literally very simple. To David coming from the native background, I think he's looking at this as a miracle or something. But things are real, man.
But I am noting my questions for when the session is done. I don't want to spoil. The flow is very nice. You're doing a very good job. I don't want to organize it.
So I'll also give this maybe a background button. I'll also give it a background. I'll give it maybe still 400. So that is done. So what I'm going to do next is maybe style this MC Africa jazz, this MC Africa thing. So what I can do to it is basically add a different font to it. Give it maybe a different font, a different color, and maybe a font size and everything. So this is that I want to tell this text widget. So what I'm going to do is basically come out of it and give it some style. So I'll give it a property of style. Remember, I'm styling the text widget. I give it a property of style. Then here it takes in a text style. And so in that, I could basically give it anything that I feel like I should give. So when I come here and hit on it and do Control Q, so you basically see all the options that this thing can take in, all the properties. So there's a property of maybe background color, then there's font style, letter spacing, shadows, everything that this thing can take, you just come and see it. So you just tap on it and do Control Q and see all the properties that this same thing has. So what I'm going to do is maybe give it a font size of like 20. Then I want to make, so this is what I want to make the point of so I want to make the point of fonts, basically adding your own fonts to a thing. So what I'm going to do is come to it, and I'm going to add maybe a different font that I don't have on my machine. I'm going to download the fonts maybe from Google. So let me just show you Google my favorite fonts. Let me stop sharing the screen. I do hope we are getting through with it. Hope I'm not. Hope I'm clear. Okay, so I'll do this. Hope my screen is being shared. Yeah, so basically what I'm showing here, that is a link that I sent you guys. Like that is why you could see read about all those colors and all. So what I'm going to do is I'm in here. I'd already opened up the Google Fonts page. So I would come in here and maybe type the font that I want. I think there's a font called Oxygen. Yeah, so there is this Oxygen font. I'll come to it, then I'll download it. So after downloading it, I'm going to add it into Android Studio and call it from the fonts. So what I will do is come back here and share again. So I'm just going to unzip it and just put it back to the side. I come and share Android Studio. Where is it? Android Studio. Okay. Okay, so that is our code. So what I'm going to do is first come here and create another folder, and I'll call it fonts. So come here, right click, and I say new folder, new directory, and just call it fonts. So this is my fonts folder. So what I'm going to do basically is come and add the other Oxygen thing that I downloaded. So come back here. Where did I put it at? Where did I put it? Let me first extract it. Just a minute. Let me extract it. Okay. So after extracting it, I'm just going to come and drop it into this fonts folder. Oh, God. Fonts. Oh, work. So save factor. Yeah. So it gets added into our. I hope my screen is being shared still. Okay, yeah, it is. So after that, just come and. So now you could see we have that Oxygen font that I've just gotten from the internet. I don't know what you guys, your fonts, which fonts you like. So now come to this pubspec.yml file. I open it. It's not opening. That's right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is scroll down. So there's this section of fonts. What I'm going to do is just uncomment this. Then I have to indent it with some indents. And, so I don't need these dummy fonts. I just have one font, so I'll just delete this. And the font is basically, I hope this is the right indentation though. Yeah, okay. No, it is not. Let me indent it again. No. Okay, so the font is called Oxygen. Font is called Oxygen. And so it is in the fonts / Oxygen regular. Just come and say Oxygen regular .dptf, whatever it is. Then I come back to my so first page, it's not bringing, but this has been changed. So that means there might be a problem with this indentation. I'll come back here and try to indent it. I'll just push it forward. That is indented. Get this. And get it. I come here. It shows me this has been changed. So that means the indentation was right. I just do a pub.get. And now just come here and say font family. Supposed to be fonts. This thing is becoming slow. Font family. Font family. And I'll call Oxygen. Just like that, we have just added our font to our custom font to our app. I can increase the size to like maybe 30, and I can give it some color. I could give it a color and say colors. Let me see. Amber. Let me give it this color. Yeah, and when I come and run this, this is what this produces. Just come and hot restart this. Okay. I hope you guys are following though. Let me hope I'm not just talking to myself. So apparently, nothing has changed yet. Let me see. Okay, yeah. So basically that is it. So you can see the color and the fonts have basically changed. Okay. So maybe I think you could also get to see how images are added to this whole thing. So I'll come back to my code. Come back to the code and maybe add some little bit of images. But maybe before we add in these images and all, I feel I'm tired of always having to always have to hit this restart option. So maybe what you can do is just basically every time I save, it automatically makes all the changes to the emulator. So that is where we have something called the widgets, the stateful and the stateless widgets. So a stateful widget is a widget where you find content in that widget is going to be changing. Then a stateless widget is a widget where you're going to find content in that widget is not going to be changing. We shall look at this, I think, in depth, maybe like next Friday. Just come here and put SLES, that is like stateless widget. When I click on it, it's going to give me a stateless widget. That's going to call it like home. And yeah, now instead of returning a container here, I'll just come and remove this. Instead of returning a container, I'm going to return this scaffold that we had here. So let me just come and get this. I cut it. I return the scaffold that we had. Let me see, it's complaining. I have to remove this. I don't know if you guys are following, but what's basically I'm trying to do is introduce a concept of a concept of uh, the concepts of widgets, the stateful and stateless widgets, and just don't dive more into it. We shall get to see how they operate. So basically, it has this build thing, and what that does is that every time maybe I'm trying to like reload it, literally builds the state of the widget. So it builds a set of the widget every other time I make any changes. So basically, I will not have to do that hot restart and hot rerun every other time. Every time I save, it's going to build the new state of the widget. That's why I put it into the stateless widget. Okay, so after that, I will. I think I shall just go to adding images. You have two types of images in Flutter. There is the network images and the asset image. We have the network image and the asset image. So we shall see how to set up maybe assets. We shall also see how to do the network images. Let's see what time it is. Oh, time is almost getting done. We're supposed to stop at 4 and go for the weekend. Yeah, we have to go. So where had we reached? So what I'm going to do is come to this body, and whatever I had here, I'm going to basically just remove everything here. If I see it is complaining, let me first see. What's the problem? A good thing with learning from here, you get to see, you learn from people that actually make mistakes, not from Google, from internet, where you're going to learn and someone is like perfect and they can't even make one mistake. I think I had forgotten to put that home that we are supposed to return. So this, when you run this app, we want our home to be whatever we pass into here. That is why we are passing into this home, this class. So that's when it runs at the first time, so we give this widgets. It's the one that will just show up. This home widget. I hope that is clear. Okay, so now I'm going to put the images. So what I want to do basically is maybe come in here and just remove this. I just put the image thing. I'm going to do is put image and folder network image. Now, when I do a network image, so in here I'm going to pass in some URL of the image. So let me first go to the internet and get some nice image. Then now I'm going to come and paste it here. Just a minute. Get an image. Get an image. I hope my screen is being shared. The guys have left. We have only 10 guys around now. Interesting. Seems I'm so much boring, man.
You're not.
I hope that is a girl that said that. So I'm just going to paste this here. I got some image from Stackits, and if I would tell you guys, Stackits is something that delivers food around Barra. So if you're anywhere and you need some food, you can buy for a friend or your girl on this Friday. Yeah, you could use Stackits to order for all your meals. Okay, so what I'm going to do is run the emulator. So right here, I'm just going to first do a hot restart so that we can update our emulator with this scaffold that we just put. So when I come into our emulator, let me run it, and you can see what we have at the minute. So when I come and stop this and run the emulator, okay, there it is. So yeah, that is our image from the network. That is the image from the network, basically. Okay, so now let's look at the assets images, the images basically that are on our local machine, not just picking them from the internet. So I'll come here and again share my code. What I'm going to do is I'll remove this. So I'll first come and create a folder where we shall put our assets. Come here, then create another folder. come and call this folder, create a folder, I call it assets. So there it is. And I feel like, so let me just drag and drop some pictures in here. Wait a minute, wait a minute. So let me drag and drop some pictures in here. Just some pictures. You guys. Hey, you guys. Oh, yeah. So let me see. So yeah, going to drag a picture and put it into the assets folder. Okay, so that is a picture into the assets folder. There it is, a picture of food. Yeah. So after doing that, I have to go into this abstract.yaml file and look for where assets are. So they're in here. So come and uncomment this. Hit Control then slash on Windows. I know that there are very few people with a MacBook, so I won't even try to. But I think it is like command something. Either way, I doubt you guys are going to use MacBooks because you don't have them. Yeah, so now that that is done, hope this is, you have to make sure that this is the right indenting. Okay, so I think that is okay. So when I come back to my main, what I want to update is, so these images, I've just put one image. So I'll come and search into the sets and slash, this image is called, I can just put assets. So every other time, these assets are always looking into the assets folder. So when I come here, so I do a pub gets, should get that that change that you've just made. When I come into my main, instead of this network image, I'm just going to do an asset image. Remove this whole jazz and put an assets slash called stack it's not food png. Yeah, there we have it. When I just come and control this, should appear in our emulator. So let me run the emulator and you'll see it appear. It doesn't appear, then that means let me just run the emulator. It should appear. Just a minute. We share the emulator. Fingers crossed. And yeah, there it is. That is it in the emulator. Yeah, and a good bit about this whole thing is that it is 4 p.m. So I think Class is done. Anyone with a question? We call it a weekend. Or we continue.
I think we can continue up to next week. I'm just
It's
playing.
a weekend.
I have some questions. So.
Yeah, go ahead. People want to go and take beer. Some do take beer.
Yo, yo.
Hey,
Nah, I
by the way,
don't.
whoever takes whoever takes beer, I'm buying. Just tell me where you guys are.
Wait,
Um,
let me type my mobile money number in the chat now.
beer doesn't go through mobile money. Anyway, back to the point though.
Yeah,
I really noticed some things I could relate to,
yeah,
as someone trying out native and would
yeah,
want to do a little bit of Flutter.
yeah,
And then I noticed something that was a little bit off key that appeared rocket science to me. But
yeah.
the key point for me here is, do you guys have architectures you guys follow like the way we do? I notice some similarities, like when you are importing the font, when you wanted to add a new font and style to your app, where you had to go to a separate file and add, then maybe you just call it the other side. That was something a little bit familiar. And
Yeah.
how you added the asset, that's something familiar though. But when you had gone to your source code, it was purely rocket science. And just a quick one. Other than us using the arrow, the shorthand for the arrow, the equal sign and the arrow, since we're not returning something in the first instance, is
Yeah.
there any other that concept that we used for this app?
The classes.
The classes, eh?
Yeah. So
Okay.
basically, for you, it literally seemed like more of the programming language that you've been used to. That's why it didn't look like so much of a difference.
Okay. I have my fingers crossed for the future. Very excited for next Friday and the other coming ones. I'd want to see how the code would play out if the app starts to scale up. If you're working with an app with lots of functionalities, or where you need to add some functionalities or change some functionalities, or maybe you're working for an app for a company and suddenly the company changes all their colors and themes. How would you apply that? Would you need to write code everywhere? Yeah, so I'm really interested in the architecture, how you would organize your code. That is like where I have my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
If Flutter can prove that actually we can get a gooder architecture, then I would shift. But currently, when I look at the native one, the different architectures we have, like MVVM, MVC, MVP, etc., etc., kind of like still makes me feel I'm in my comfort zone here.
But okay, the whole point of maybe changing, maybe people are changing their colors and all that. Oh, just remind them, I'm still eating. It goes back to the fact that it goes back to your coding style. In that Flutter, so you find you write the logic and the functionality more or less like on the same thing. It goes back to the way how you code, how you could maybe have smart coding and get. So it goes back to the programmer on how you style and arrange your code.
Oh, okay. Thanks a lot for that. Now the $1 million question, my last question. I'm so sorry. I keep on asking a lot of questions, but this one you have to answer instantly. So, what is this thing that you've been eating forever? From two something to four, you are still eating.
It's pink in color. I mean cassava.
You kill me of laughter. Anyway, thanks for your time. Thanks for everyone for joining. I'm really enjoying myself and having fun. I think you should record these videos and you should be sending us links also, because apparently I have to go to someone and request her for a link.
Wait, you're at Makere, right?
No. Apparently, I am way done with school now, but
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, it's Kawa, it's Kawa. She's a pretty girl, by the way. You can even hear, listen to the voice. Brandon, say something. So before we just end the session, so the people that have been attending, maybe you could give feedback about the sessions, if it is okay, or if it is maybe something that we can change, something we can add, or maybe if we could change our languages and all. Yeah, we could just type it and you leave the meeting. Just type in chat and just get feedback from you, please. Sam, do you have any feedback? Kawa. So if there is no feedback, good night and see you next Friday. Enjoy your afternoon. And just remember not to drive and drink. I mean drink and not drive. Bye guys.